The dark space around Earth was quiet. The blue planet shone like a small marble surrounded by endless blackness. On the edge of this silence, the space station Orion 7 floated like a tiny light in the dark ocean. Its hull was strong, and its crew was trained for anything, or so they thought. Inside the station, people hurried along bright hallways. They spoke in low voices, tense and serious. Screens glowed with data. Commands were given quickly. Every person felt a strange weight in the air, a feeling that something very big was about to happen. And they were right. A message from the stars. It had started just a few hours before. A strange signal appeared on the long-range sensors. It was not like the usual noise of space. It was too regular, too clear. The station commander, a serious woman named Commander Mira, had called everyone to the main control room as soon as the signal was confirmed. Myra stood with her hands behind her back, eyes on the glowing screen in front of her. The screen showed a pattern of light dots and dashes, repeating again and again. Her voice was calm but tight as she spoke to her crew. "This is not a human signal," she had said, "and it is heading straight for us." That was the moment everyone truly felt fear. Aliens, real aliens, coming here. The arrival begins. By the time Earth received the message, the unknown ship was already close, too close. The station's sensors picked up the ship as a smooth silver shape surrounded by a faint blue glow. It was moving fast, and it showed no signs of slowing down. Commander Mira had hoped to have more time. Time to call Earth, time to prepare, time to plan, but that was gone now. "All hands," she said into the loudspeaker, voice echoing through the station. "Prepare for first contact." The crew moved quickly, some to observation windows, some to weapon stations. Even though they hoped for peace, fear was hard to hide. The ship appears, and then it was there. It glided into view outside the station windows, huge and graceful, like a silver whale swimming in the ocean. Its surface was smooth and strange, made of no metal they recognized. Lights ran across its sides in perfect lines. Every movement was silent. The crew held their breath as they stared. No one spoke, no one dared to. A whisper from the unknown, and then the station's speakers crackled. A voice, deep and calm, filled the control room. "People of Earth," it said slowly. The words were clear, perfect English, though the voice was not human. "We come in peace. We wish to speak with you." Every face in the room was frozen. Commander Mira's hands stayed perfectly still. Someone whispered, "They can speak our language." Mira took a slow breath. She knew she had to answer. "Alien vessel," she began, voice steady. "This is Commander Mira of Earth Station Orion 7. You are welcome to talk. State your purpose." A strange silence. There was a long, deep silence. Outside, the alien ship moved a little closer. Its blue glow reflected on the station windows like water. Mira felt the tension rise. Had they come to fight? Or truly to talk? 100 questions rushed through her mind. And then, that voice returned. "We come as diplomats," it said. "We wish to exchange words, not weapons. But first, we must understand you." The crew's fear in the station halls. Every member of the crew felt their heart beating faster. Some stood by weapon controls, hands trembling. Others whispered prayers or stared at the ship outside. Mira held up a hand to silence everyone in the control room. She thought carefully about what to say next. "We understand," she replied, keeping her voice even. "We are ready to speak. What do you need from us?" A sudden demand. The aliens did not answer right away. Mira felt a chill pass over her as she watched the silver ship through the glass. Then the voice spoke again. First it said, "Show us you are strong. Show us you will not break. Give us a challenge, an invitation to battle, so we may see the strength of your people." Myra's hands went cold. The words were like a stone dropped into a still lake. Battle. Why would they ask for that? Confusion and fear. The control room burst into quiet, tense whispers. "They want to fight," someone hissed. "Is it a trick? Maybe they want to test us." Mira stayed very still, eyes fixed on the alien ship. What did they mean? Why would aliens arrive in peace, then demand a fight? And if Earth refused, what then? Would these strangers see them as weak? Would they leave, or attack? The commander's decision. Mira thought about Earth. She thought about the billions of people on the planet below, and she thought about the responsibility in her hands at this very moment. She took a breath and spoke clearly, so the aliens could hear. "You ask for a challenge," she said slowly. "If that is your way to measure strength, then we will give you one. But we fight only as a test, not as enemies. Do you accept?" The waiting answer for what felt like forever. There was nothing. The station was quiet. The aliens were quiet. And Myra could feel the eyes of everyone around her. Then the voice finally replied, smooth and sure. "We accept your invitation," it said. "Prepare. We will begin when you give the signal." And just like that, the silver ship moved back into the dark. Its blue light faded into the black, and all at once the station felt very small. The silence after, when the aliens were gone from view, the crew could breathe again. Myra felt her hands shake as she looked around. Every face was full of questions. "We need to call Earth," someone whispered. Myra nodded. "Yes," she agreed, "and we need to prepare." Her voice was steady again, but she felt a knot in her stomach. A world on alert, the station quickly sent a message to Earth. Within minutes, the planet was buzzing with the news. Leaders, generals, and scientists rushed to secret rooms. Every television and radio spoke of one thing: aliens had come, and they had asked for a fight. People in cities stared up at the sky that night, wondering what would happen next. Some were scared, some were angry, and some were simply amazed. Night on the station. That same night, aboard Orion 7, Mira stood alone by the window. The station was quiet, the halls dark and still. She watched the stars, thinking about what was to come. Somewhere out there was a ship full of aliens. They had crossed the galaxy just to speak, and humanity had answered them with a challenge. Mira hoped it was the right choice. The next steps. By morning, orders came in from Earth. Scientists and military leaders were already working together. There was a plan now, a plan to show strength, without cruelty. A plan to make sure the aliens saw a people who could fight if they had to, but who also wished for peace. Mira gathered her crew in the main hall. She spoke calmly and clearly. "You all know what happened," she said, "and you all know what's at stake. Our message was clear. We will face this challenge, but we will do it in a way that speaks for all of us, strong, brave, and ready to listen." Around her, the crew stood taller. Some still looked scared, but many looked determined to. The waiting begins, and so they waited. Hours turned into a long, tense day. Every sensor on the station scanned the dark for any sign of the silver ship. Every thought was on what would happen when the aliens returned. That as Mira stared out into the empty dark, she felt a strange mix of fear and hope. She knew that this was the beginning of something bigger than anyone could imagine, and all they could do now was wait for the next move. And so began humanity's first true contact with another life among the stars, a meeting that would change everything forever. The station Orion 7 felt very different after the aliens left. There was a strange, tense energy in every hallway. Crew members spoke in whispers. Officers moved faster than usual. Everyone was preparing, but nobody knew exactly what they were. Preparing for. And outside, in the deep black space around the station, all was silent. No silver ship, no glowing blue light, just stars like tiny sparks against the dark. Earth's orders. By the next morning, a special signal came in from Earth. The message was short and serious. "Your orders," it began, "are to hold position. Do not fire unless fired upon. Prepare one small shuttle with a trained team. Await further instructions. Alien diplomats may return at any time." Myra read the message twice before looking up. This was more than just a challenge. Earth was scared, scared enough to prepare a fight if needed. And yet there was also a quiet hope hidden in those words. Alien diplomats may return. That meant someone on Earth still believed these visitors could be reasoned with. The waiting game. Hours passed slowly. Mira walked the halls, checking every station, every crew member. She paused in the observation dome and stared out at the distant stars. Beside her, her second-in-command, a young officer named Diego, broke the silence. "Do you really think they'll come back?" he asked, voice low. Myra didn't answer right away. Finally, she nodded. "They will," she said. "They're not finished with us yet." A signal in the silence, as if to prove her right. An alarm tone suddenly rang through the station. Myra's hands tensed. "Report," she ordered. A tech at the control station spoke quickly. "Ma'am, we're picking up another transmission. It's not the ship this time. It's a coded message, coming from nowhere, just blank space." Mira frowned. That wasn't normal. "Play it," she told them. The whispering message. The speakers hissed, with static at first. Then a voice, soft and strange, began to speak. "People of Earth," it said, "do not fear what comes next. Your fight is only the beginning. There is a greater danger in the dark. You must be ready, or you will be consumed." And then, just as suddenly as it began, the message ended. The station was quiet again. Myra looked around at her crew. Some had gone pale. Others stared at the speakers as if they expected them to talk again. Confusion and debate. What was that? Someone whispered. Myra thought the same question. Was this a warning, a threat, or a puzzle they had to solve? Diego broke the tense. Silence. Do you think the aliens sent this to Mira? Considered it. Maybe, she replied slowly. Or someone or something else is watching us. That thought chilled her more than anything. Trying to decode the truth within minutes, the techs were analyzing the message. It was a strange, unfamiliar signal, nothing they'd ever picked up before. They might have hidden something inside it, one of the techs said. Mira nodded. Then look deeper, she told him. Check every layer. As the team worked, the station felt like a hive of worried energy. Crew members clustered around the screens, hoping to see an answer. A surprising discovery, and they did find something. After an hour of decoding, a simple image appeared on the screen, a star map, showing Earth's position. And there, far from the solar system, was a glowing red dot. Myra stared at it. What is that? She asked. The tech swallowed. I think it's where they want us to go, he said. That dot, it's the aliens' home, or maybe something worse. The data matches the message. It's a warning. New fear rising. Mira felt her heart pound faster. First aliens, then a challenge. And now this, a star map with a mystery waiting light years away. Suddenly, it felt like Earth was standing on a narrow bridge, and if they took one wrong step, they might fall into the dark forever. An unexpected return as Myra stared at the glowing dot on the screen. The station's alarms went off again, loud and sharp this time. Alien vessel returning, someone called. Range closing fast. Mira spun to the main screen just as the silver ship appeared once more. Its blue light bathed the station like a ghostly tide. They're back, Diego whispered. Myra straightened her shoulders. Open a channel, she ordered. The diplomat speaks. The alien voice came through as clear and calm as before. You have heard the message, it said. You have seen the map, and you accepted our invitation to fight. Your choice will matter. So tell us, will you stand alone, or will you listen and grow? Mira felt every eye on her. Every soul on the station was waiting. The decision point. In that moment, Myra realized that this was not a simple meeting anymore. This was a test, and Earth's answer could change everything. She took a slow breath, and into the radio she spoke, clear and strong. We stand ready, she said, but we will listen to. Tell us what you need us to do. And outside the window, the silver ship glowed a little brighter, as if it approved. The station Orion 7 was wrapped in an eerie blue light. The alien's silver ship still hovered outside like a silent guardian. Its strange glow filled every window. Inside the station, Mira and her crew stood still, waiting for the next words from the diplomat. That voice, deep and measured, finally broke the quiet. You have agreed to listen, it said. Good, you will need that skill if you wish to survive what is coming. A test, not a fight. Myra kept her hands steady on the console as she spoke. You mentioned a fight, she began carefully, and we are ready for it. But you also speak of a greater danger. What is it? The speakers hissed. You will see, the voice replied. But first you must pass a simple test. Mira exchanged a glance with Diego. A test, Diego whispered. Yes, she whispered back. And we don't even know the rules. Strange orders, the diplomat continued. To pass, it said, you will follow our instructions without hesitation. Do this, and you will prove you are worthy to fight by our side. Fail, and we leave you to your own fate. Mira felt her throat tighten. This wasn't what they'd expected, and it was dangerous putting Earth's future into the hands of strangers they barely knew. But she could feel the crew behind her. All of them were watching, waiting. First steps, understood. Myra replied carefully. What do you want us to do? Launch one of your small shuttles. The diplomat answered. Carry 3 of your crew. Have them leave the station and wait just outside your world's protective skies. They must go alone, unarmed. The room erupted in worried whispers. That's too risky, someone muttered. They could take our people, said another. Myra held up a hand. Quiet, she ordered. Her heart was pounding, but her voice stayed calm. Volunteers. Diego spoke first. I'll go, he offered. 2 others followed, a security officer named Jane and a tech named Omar. Mira looked at each of them. You know what you're agreeing to? Diego nodded. We all do, he answered. If this is the way to keep Earth safe, we'll do it. Mira felt a wave of pride and fear for them. Prepare the shuttle, she said. A tense departure in minutes. The small shuttle was loaded and ready. Myra stood by the glass as Diego, Jane, and Omar took their seats inside. The doors hissed shut. Good luck, she whispered, though they couldn't hear her. Slowly, the shuttle detached. Its tiny lights glimmered against the dark as it glided out toward the waiting alien ship. And then it stopped, just as the diplomat had instructed, on the edge of Earth's protective skies. A wait that feels endless back on the station. Every face was turned toward the windows. Time seemed to stretch forever. No one spoke, no one moved, and then the alien ship lit up bright blue and white, like a star going nova. That the diplomat's voice filled the station speakers one last time. "You have begun the test," it said. "Your crew has shown courage. Next will come the fight you agreed to, but it will not be what you expect. Remember the greater danger we spoke of. Prepare your hearts as well as your hands." And then, as quickly as it appeared, the blue light faded. The silver ship glided back into the dark, and outside, the tiny shuttle hung silently in space. Returning home, Myra grabbed the radio. "Diego, report. What happened?" There was a long silence, then a crackle. "We're fine," Diego answered. "Nothing happened to us, they just watched." Myra felt a strange chill. That was all. That was the test. "Bring the shuttle back," she ordered. New questions. No answers by the time the crew returned. Everyone was full of questions. Why send them out unarmed? Why do nothing once they were outside Earth's skies? And most of all, what would come next? Diego had his own questions too. "When we were out there," he said, eyes serious, "I felt like someone was looking at me, studying me. It wasn't friendly." Myra nodded. "You weren't just being watched," she replied. "You were being measured." And now, they had to wait again for whatever test would come next. Secrets in the shadows that night. As the station grew quiet, Myra stayed up in the observation dome. Her eyes searched the dark beyond the glass. Somewhere out there, an alien ship was gliding through the deep, and somewhere even farther, something even more dangerous was waiting. They had accepted the aliens' invitation to fight, and they had proven they could listen, but Myra had the strange feeling that was only the first step into a much larger story, and that Earth was now part of a game they didn't fully understand. The shuttle glided back into Orion 7 like a tired traveler returning home. Myra was there at the airlock to meet Diego, Jane, and Omar as they stepped off. Their faces were tense. They had survived the first test, but none of them felt like celebrating. "You look like you've seen a ghost," Myra said. Diego nodded slowly. "Out there," he began, voice low, "it felt like someone was looking inside my head, like they already knew who I was." Jane shuddered. "And then, as the alien ship left, I felt something, like a whisper, too faint to understand." Omar nodded. "Same here. It's like they left a part of themselves with us." Myra's worry grows. Myra led them to the station's medbay. "Let the doctors check you," she said, "and then you'll get some rest. Whatever they did or whatever they left behind, we need to understand it." As the crew was examined, Myra stood just outside, arms crossed, deep in thought. This was more than a test. It felt like they were all caught in a plan that was much bigger than they realized, and Earth was already involved. New orders from Earth. While Myra thought, a priority message came in from Earth Command, Orion 7. It read, "Your actions with the aliens are under full review until further notice. Hold position and wait. Prepare for diplomatic teams to arrive. Do not take action without explicit orders." Myra stared at the message, lips pressed tight. "Hold position," she whispered. That was going to be hard, especially when she felt like they were already too deep into something Earth Command couldn't see. A signal from deep space just then. A tech burst into the hallway. "Captain," they called, "you need to come to the control room, right now." Myra followed them at a run. In the control room, everyone was gathered around the main screen, and there, on the glowing display, was a signal, a new one, very faint, and very far away. "It's repeating," one of the techs whispered, almost like a beacon. The message they found. They tuned the station's instruments toward the source of the signal. Slowly, as they cleaned up the static, shapes appeared, lines, patterns, and then words. Words in their own language. "Test to begins," the message read. "Follow the signal. Do not hesitate. Your enemy is closer than you know." Myra's decision. The station fell into a tense silence. Diego looked up at Myra. "We can't wait for Earth Command," he said softly. "They don't see what we see. If this is another test, we need to pass it, and if we don't..." He left the words hanging. Myra felt the weight of everyone's gaze, and she thought of the aliens, of their strange message, their glowing ship, their promise that a greater fight was coming, and then she thought of Earth, of her own people, of every face on the station who had trusted her. Finally, she nodded. "Plot a course toward that signal," she ordered. "Prepare the engines." And just like that, Orion 7 moved from watching to acting, out into the dark. The station began to move. Stars shifted outside the windows as they changed course. Everyone on board was tense, uncertain. Some whispered to each other. Others checked their stations over and over, and Mira stood at the front of the control room, hands clasped behind her back. Whatever waited for them at the source of the signal, they were going to face it together. Something waiting as they drew closer to the source of the signal. The station's sensors began to pick up new readings. There's something there, a tech said, voice hushed. Some kind of vessel. Too big to be a ship like the one we met. Almost like a station. Almost like a city. Myra's heart felt heavier. She could see the shadow on the screen, and around it more shadows. Moving shapes. Like guards around. A treasure. A voice in the darkness suddenly. All the speakers on Orion 7 crackled at once. You have come, a voice said. You have followed the signal. Your second test awaits. And outside the station, a huge light flared, bright as a tiny sun revealing the strange alien city floating in deep space. Myra took a breath. Open a channel, she said, voice steady. And as they prepared to speak, every soul on Orion 7 held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The strange alien city glowed softly in the dark, like a blue jewel suspended in nothingness. Orion-7 had come closer than anyone aboard had thought possible. The station's cameras showed a structure so vast that it made even Earth's largest orbital stations seem tiny. Spires rose like jagged hills. Glowing paths ran between them like rivers of light. And somewhere inside that city was the next TESTA message received incoming transmission. A tech whispered. Mira's hands tightened. Play it, she said. The voice that filled the speakers was calm and deep. You have answered the call, it began. You have crossed into the dark. You have proven you will follow when challenged. Now you must enter and face what lies within. There was a pause, as if the speaker was waiting for a reply. Took a breath. This is Captain Myra of Earth Station Orion 7, she answered clearly. We are here. We will do what we must. Into the unknown, the alien voice spoke again. Very well, it said. Prepare a team. Your path will be shown. And once inside, your choices will decide your fate. And then the transmission went. Silent. Mira felt her heart pound. A path would be shown. A team must go in. And whatever was inside that city was going to change everything. Assembling the team, Myra gathered her most trusted people. Diego volunteered first, his face set with quiet determination. Jane and Omar followed without a second thought, and one more crew member, a young scientist named Alina, raised her hand. I might understand their technology, she offered, if we need to navigate. Mira nodded. That made 4. Gear up, she told them. You leave in 1 hour. The ship that led the way while the team prepared. Mira went to the observation deck. Out there, the silver alien ship had appeared again, guiding them toward a small docking bay along the city's edge. That ship had been with them every step, so far, silent watching, and Mira wondered what it truly was. A guide, a judge, or a spy. Crossing into alien ground before long, Diego and the others were suited up and boarding a small shuttle. Myra stood at the hatch to see them off. Remember, she told them quietly, you're representing Earth. Now we need answers and we need to come back safe. Diego gave a serious nod. You can count on us, he said. And then the shuttle doors closed. A ghostly arrival, the shuttle glided out toward the city, and as they approached, shapes began to take form. Lights blinked along the docking bay. Airlocks opened as if they'd been waiting, and all around, strange humming filled the radio. The team moved carefully. Each step inside was like walking into a dream. Walls glowed a gentle blue. The air was warm like someone had been expecting them for a long time. The first challenge. Inside, they reached a huge circular hall with doorways leading in every direction. In the center was a single light, hovering without wires or machines, and under it, on a stone pedestal, a small metal cube. Jane reached toward it careful, Diego warned. But the moment her fingers touched the cube, it glowed, and then, they all heard it, a voice. Inside their minds, you have reached the heart, it said. To proceed, you must choose one path. Each path reveals a truth, and one truth holds the way forward. 3 paths, open doors slid open in the walls. Each one showed a different scene. One lead into what looked like a lush forest under glowing skies. One lead into a bright white chamber filled with strange machines. And one lead into a long tunnel of shifting light. Diego glanced at the others. Looks like a puzzle, he murmured. Alina nodded. Or a test of some kind, she replied. They want to see what we value, nature, knowledge, or the unknown. And every second they stood there, the cube in the center pulsed brighter, urging them to choose. Making the choice, the team gathered close, voices low. Knowledge could help us understand them, Alina said, glancing at the white chamber. Nature means they care about balance, Jane replied, looking toward the forest path. Diego kept his eyes on the tunnel of light. And that one, he said, might be the most honest. It's telling us there will be things we can't explain. And all eyes turned to Diego. He felt the weight of their trust. Finally, he nodded. We choose the light, he decided, and together they stepped into the glowing tunnel. The glowing tunnel wrapped around Diego and his team like a shimmering ribbon. Each step felt lighter, as if gravity itself was shifting beneath them, and then, without warning, the light began to hum, low and gentle, like a voice calling them onward. The path that moved as they walked, the floor under their feet shifted too. No longer was it smooth and flat, now it curved, sloped, and bent, changing as they followed it deeper into the city. And all around them, shapes began to appear. Soft outlines at first, then clearer forms, walls with strange writing they couldn't read, and doors that never opened. Jane reached out to touch one of the glowing walls. Her fingers left a faint trail that vanished a moment later. Is this place alive? She whispered. Diego didn't answer right away. He was too busy listening. Voices in the air. There it was again, a voice like a breeze through the tunnel. You have chosen the way of the unknown, it said. You embrace mystery, and so we will show you what lies ahead. Diego glanced back at Alina. You hear that too, right? She nodded. It's in my head, she replied, and it feels real. Omar kept his hands close to his sides. Do they speak this way to everyone who enters? Jane shrugged. I don't know, she whispered, but they want us to listen. So let's do exactly that. An opening beyond sight. The further they walked, the louder the voice became, until suddenly, the tunnel ended. Before them was a perfect circle of light, and past that light, shapes began to take form. A landscape that was neither indoors nor outdoors, a place that glowed with its own strange color, and floating there in the center was something that looked like a chair carved of glass. The heart of the city. The voice spoke again. You have followed the light, it said. You have walked into the heart of this sanctuary, and here is where you will face what you must face. Diego took a cautious step forward. The chair shimmered in greeting like it had been expecting him all along. He paused. Is this part of the test? He asked aloud. The voice responded at once. Yes, the chair will show you your future if you dare to look, and the future will show you your role in what is to come. A choice that can't be taken back. Behind him, Jane whispered, what if it's dangerous? Alina glanced around nervously. Or what if it changes us somehow? Diego took a deep breath. I don't think we have a choice, he said. This is what they brought us here for. And if we want to understand the real fight that's coming, we need to see what they see. And with that, he reached out and lowered himself into the glass chair. A future revealed the moment he touched the chair. The light changed. The walls vanished. The floor disappeared. And Diego felt himself pulled into a dream. He saw Earth, fragile and blue, surrounded by shapes moving fast across the stars. He saw alien fleets. He saw battles fought in dark places between worlds. And then he saw something that scared him most of all, a single enemy, vast and shadowed, spreading across the galaxy like a storm. And as the visions filled his eyes, the chair glowed brighter, as if feeding him every secret it had. The test ends then, as quickly as it began. The light faded. Diego felt hands pulling him up. Jane, Omar, and Alina, looking at him with worry. You okay? Jane asked. Diego nodded slowly. I think so, he answered. But we need to go. And we need to tell Myra what we saw because we don't have much time. Behind him, the chair was dimming, its glass surface already turning dark, and outside the city felt colder, as if their visit had taken something from it. A warning. For the future. When they returned to the shuttle, the team was quiet. Each of them had caught glimpses to flashes of light and sound that felt like fragments of Diego's own vision, and none of it was good. By the time they reached Orion 7 again, they knew one thing for sure. The fight the aliens had warned them about was real, and it was coming faster than they thought. And whatever they'd learned in that glowing chair was just the beginning. The shuttle doors hissed open as Diego and the team stepped back onto Orion 7. Myra was there waiting for them, arms crossed, eyes sharp. Tell me, she said simply. And Diego did. He told her about the glowing tunnel and the chair. He told her what he'd seen, the battles across the stars, the dark shadow spreading toward Earth, and the warning that time was short. Myra listened without interruption, and when he finished, she nodded once, face set like stone. No time to waste. We knew this was serious, Mira said, but we didn't know it was this close. She looked at them all. You did well, and we need to act fast. Jane glanced around. How do we even fight something like that? She asked. Weapons, shields, alliances. Mira took a breath. That's what we need to figure out, she replied. But first, we need to call Earth, and we need to make sure they believe us. Earth's response within the hour. Myra was standing in front of the main view screen. Earth Command's faces appeared, serious, skeptical, and tired. They listened as Mira explained what they'd seen, and when she was done, there was a long silence. You're telling us, one of them finally said, that aliens invited you into their city, showed you visions of some coming war, and that we have to act on that? Mira nodded. Yes, and if we wait, it might be too late. More silence. And then the leader of Earth Command spoke. We'll put our forces on alert, they agreed. But we need proof. You'll stay at Orion 7 and keep investigating. If the aliens contact you again, we want details. The screen went blank. An uneasy waiting game as the hours passed. Everyone felt the pressure. Crews checked every system twice. Engineers ran diagnostics on the station's defenses. And in the mess hall, nobody talked much. Everyone was too busy thinking. Diego kept seeing the chair in his mind. And Jane kept hearing that voice that had whispered to them in the light. And Myra kept looking at the stars, waiting. A new visitor then, just as the station was settling into its tense rhythm, alarms began to ring. Unidentified craft approaching, someone called. Myra rushed to the control room. And on the screen was a vessel different from the one that had first appeared. Bigger, darker, and moving faster than anything they'd seen before. Is it one of the alien ships? Diego asked, already tense. Mira shook her head slowly. I don't think so, she replied. This one feels different. A warning comes true as the new vessel drew closer. A signal came through. No words, no images, just a sound. A deep, pulsing tone that made everyone shiver. And as the tone filled the control room, they all remembered the chair's final vision, the shadow spreading across the galaxy. That shadow was here, and it was close. Mira's order: power up the station's defenses. Mira commanded. Get every crew member to their post, and someone contact Earth's command. Tell them what's happening. The team moved fast, and Diego felt a surge of purpose. This was what they'd been warned about, what they'd been shown, and now they had to face it. The first shot before they could do anything else. A bright beam of light lanced across the stars and struck Orion 7. The station shuddered, lights flickered, and sparks rained down as systems overloaded. Shields holding, someone shouted. But Myra wasn't convinced. That was a warning, she murmured, and the next one wouldn't miss. The station rocked again as a second blast lit up the dark around Orion-7. Myra grabbed the control console for balance. Return fire, she commanded. Target their engines. Diego and Jane rushed to their posts, hands flying across, glowing panels as they powered up the station's weapons. Alarms filled the air, voices shouted, and outside the observation window, the dark ship loomed like a predator. A fight on two fronts as the station fired back. Blue beams lanced across the stars. The alien vessel shifted smoothly, almost like it was toying with them. Its own cannons answered, and Orion 7 shuddered again. Alina, Myra called. See if you can send a message, anything that can reach them. Alina nodded and hurried to the comms array. Diego, Mira continued. You and Jane keep those guns firing, and if we can knock out their weapons long enough to move, we do it. Yes, Captain, Diego replied without hesitation. The alien city answers suddenly. The station's main screen glowed bright. A new signal. This one wasn't from the dark ship. It was from the glowing alien city. Orion 7 on the voice from before echoed through the speakers. You have answered the call, and now we will help you face the shadow. Outside, the first hints of light began to rise from the city like distant stars. The battle begins. Those tiny lights became streaks, and then shapes, and then a fleet of strange, graceful vessels, each glowing with blue and white light. They surrounded the dark ship like a swarm of comets, and together they fired, weaving beams of energy across the void. Diego stared at the screen in awe. They came, he whispered. Mira allowed herself a small smile. Yes, she replied, they did. A fight that lit the void. The dark ship fought back. Its hull glowed like a coal in a fire as it shot blast after blast into the swirling fleet. But the aliens moved together, and where one ship fell, two more took its place, and all the while, Orion 7 kept up its own fire. Diego felt every shot like a heartbeat. Every impact shook the station, and every time the blue-white glow outside brightened, he felt a bit more hope. A desperate choice, but then the dark ship did something unexpected. Its surface split, and out came a swarm of smaller craft, each one heading straight for the station. Brace yourselves, Mira called, and then the windows filled with fast-moving shapes. Diego kept his hands steady. Target the nearest ones, he told Jane. Don't let them breach the hull. The station's guns roared again, and one by one, the shapes burst into sparks. Victory, in sight out in the dark. The alien fleet kept pressing, and slowly, the dark ship began to falter. Its shields failed, its light dimmed, and then, with one last burst of blue-white light from the alien city, it broke, splitting into pieces that scattered into the dark. Cheers rang through Orion 7, and even Mira let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. A message, shared as the alien fleet drifted into view once more. The voice came again. You stood firm, it said. You fought when you had every reason to fear, and now your world is safe for this chapter of your story. Myra nodded toward the screen. Thank you, she said simply, and across the void. The blue-white shapes glimmered as if they heard her and began to fade. The long road ahead in the silence that followed. The crew looked at each other, exhausted, relieved, and forever changed. Diego thought of the chair, of the vision, and of the battles that might still come, but for now, they had survived, and Earth would know what they had learned, that they weren't alone, that some were friends, and some were not, and that standing together was the only way they'd ever make it.